Today's video, we are going to talk about a customer reactivation campaign strategy that will get lost customers that you've lost to competitors, to people forgetting about you, forgetting about the products and services you offer, 10 to 30% of the time after you lose them. Okay, I will admit the premise of this is giving stuff away to people who you've so-called lost, but I promise you it's still worth it, because what a lost customer is worth to your business in terms of like what, you know, the value of that customer based upon what you have to invest to get them back will be worth it, and the return will still be great at the end of the day. I'm going to give you a couple of real examples where we did this before, and then also what the formula is so you can replicate this yourself on your end. Customers that have left you, you should always have a system in place, an automated system, to get those people back if they have not come back to you within a relatively recent period of time. Why? Because it just makes everything you're doing to get customers in the first place that much more efficient. It's very expensive to get somebody totally unaware of your business, or, you know, that is happy doing business with the competitor to come try you out and give you a chance, and to do business with you enough to become a loyal customer, because most of the time it doesn't happen on just one visit, one engagement. With as expensive as it is, it's much better for you to invest part of that money to maintain the customers you have as long as possible through this lost customer remarketing, if you will, than it is to spend that money to just try to get more new customers in the door. It's easier to optimize the bottom part of your so-called sales funnel in your business than it is to spend all your money just to get more people into the funnel altogether. You should spend money to get customers back more than you should spend money to get customers who came and did not buy. You should spend more money on, it's all proportional and relative, but respectively, you should spend money on getting people that have come to your business already but haven't bought than you are getting people to your business in the first place. Because the more engaged they have been with you in the past, the more likely they are to buy, which means you have to spend less to get those people's attention. That's what and why you spend money in the first place getting customers you've already dealt with back before you spend it on getting new customers by itself. So with that said, I'm going to get into the content here. So some customers that you lose at your business, of course, by the way, you can't get back no matter what you do, and regardless of you using the method that I'm talking about here. Because you just simply messed up. People that have a bad enough experience, you aren't getting them back no matter what. I admit that going into this video. However, that's not, if you offer a decent product or service, you have good reviews, most of the people that leave you are just simply leaving because your competitors stole them away from you, or they simply forgot about what you sell. And so this customer reactivation campaign that you can run to get an ad in front of those people who've dealt with you before, it's not that hard to get them back. You just got to make them a little bit of an offer, you'll get them back. The very easiest customer to get is always the past customer versus the person who hasn't heard of you before. And therefore, you should always spend your money marketing to get the past customer back, to at least until you get to the point of where it's not profitable anymore, before spending that money on getting new customers. It'll make getting the new customers easier and better, because you could spend more to get a new customer once you have your customer reactivation campaign going in the background. So, with that said, okay, the reason why it's primarily worth getting a customer reactivation campaign going for your business is because people are fundamentally creatures of habit. As long as you can get people buying from you more than once, actually at least 3 times, they're already just going to stay with you because of purely out of habit. If they go to your day spa at least 3 times, they're very, very, very not likely to leave after that point in time, unless you really F it up. So, what you can spend to get a customer back is actually quite a bit. because of all the lifetime value, as they call it in the marketing space, of what that customer's worth once you get them back. So you can offer them quite a bit to get them back, because they'll probably stay on average of it and buy from you another 10, 20, 30 times once you get them back. But you got to understand, in order to set your customer reactivation campaign up the right way, what you can actually pay to get them back. Because it's not going to still be free to get them back. It costs some money. What you want to do ahead of time is just know, where's that threshold? Where's the point where, you know, it's no longer worth getting that customer back, because it's just, we have to spend too much to get them. And you find out what an average customer in your business is worth, basically, to know what that number is. And I know what, you know, you might be thinking here, as is everybody. It's most people that I talk to in my business. When I run an advertising agency, the first thing I always ask people is what a customer is worth of your business, assuming that people can buy that product or service that they're selling more than once. And they say, oh, I don't know. How can I possibly know that? We got customers who spend $1 million and $1. How would I ever know? The reality is, that's the dumbest response that you could basically say, because anybody can figure this out, and I do mean anybody. All you got to do to find out what a customer is worth to your business on average over all their purchases is to go into your accounting system and take the total company revenue that you had since you've started and opened your doors, divided by the total customers that you've had, or clients. There you got your average revenue per customer. Bang, done. Very, very simple. So once you know what a customer is worth, okay, now you know what you can pay to get them back given your general margins. Because you might, you know, everybody knows what the margins are. You have a 10% margin in your business, 10% profit margin. Okay, you find out through that formula that I just gave you, the customers on average worth $150. So you're making an average of $15 of profit for every customer you get. Well, you can at least spend $15 getting them now. But usually, in most businesses, you're going to spend at minimum 5 to 10% of your sales revenue in marketing and advertising to get a customer. So realistically, if we just say we're willing to spend 10% of our sales revenue to get a customer, out of that 150, we can actually spend at least 15 of that, because that would normally what we would spend to get that new customer anyway. But anyway, you get my general point here. Once you find out what you could spend to get that customer back, now you can craft an offer to get them back that where you know where the limits are, and that you can be as enticing as possible. Because getting a customer back isn't as easy as just having another ad show up for them for your product or service. That does work to some degree, but it doesn't work nearly as well as having a unique offer just for those people. What I would recommend to you is to offer something for free to get them back. Why? Because if you can do that, then you can get them to come back just a couple more times. You got that customer for life again. Essentially, unless you mess it up real bad, like I said. So what can you give them that's not worth more than what you normally would pay to get a customer anyway? You really, well, because the response rate on the ads, that you put something that you can offer them for free in the ad, it will just show up for people that you've so-called lost as a customer. They bought and they haven't come back in a while. The cost that it will take, the amount of advertising cost it will take to have that ad show up for somebody is like $1. It's basically nothing. So you can invest all of what you could normally pay to get a customer into that free offer. We've had it, and this isn't directly relevant to this, but as a side thing, we had a coffee shop, as a business that had many branches, and what I advised to them simply to get customers was, let's just go after people who already go to Starbucks, and we'll offer them a free coffee. And when they come in, you're going to give them a card, like a punch card thing, and as soon as they get the first coffee, you're going to give them the card and say, if you come back, we'll give you the second coffee. And then when they come back the second time, they get the card punched, and then you say, we'll give you the third coffee. And then after that, every other punch, they'd give them 10% off, mainly so they could track how many people who got the 3 coffees would come back. What we found ultimately was 80% of the people plus that got the at least three coffees would come back again and again and again. Which that should directly translate into what you're doing here. Okay? That is, because people are creatures of habit, if you get them to get 3 items that they could get for free, which they couldn't get all in one session, and which you're not going to tell them until they get the first item for free, you know you're basically going to have that customer after that. So what can we give them? What can we give them 3 times that's not more than what we can normally pay in advertising cost to get that customer? And if so, we got our customer recapture mechanism that's not exceeding what we can pay to get a customer in the first place. So, and free item might not be what fits because you can't afford to pay not enough to a customer to be able to give them something for free. It might be 20% off your next purchase or 30% off your next purchase. But you get the general mechanism here. We're trying to sweeten the pot as much as possible to get the maximum amount of people who are going to see our ad that will get in front of just those past customers that we lost to buy it. And so that's the mechanism at hand. Now to give you an actual example here of where we did this before, we got a big name company that sold diet products, okay? What we did for that particular campaign is we set up a remarketing audience through Google Analytics, and then as a result Google Ads so that we could run banner ads on Google Display Network in front of these customers that we have so-called lost in the past. Normally for a lost customer campaign, we're going to have if they have somebody who has purchased but has not purchased in the last 180 days or come back to the site in the last 180 days to go with that, we're going to have our ads, our customer reactivation ads, that are going to be somewhat desperate to get that person back to start showing up for that person. At least for the next 30 days, we're going to try to have that ad get their attention, and if it can, it can. If it won't, it won't. And with that said, okay, we basically know what a customer's worth using the mechanism that I told you before, what we use, the simple method for finding out what a customer's worth. Total revenue divided by total customers, okay? That said, you can get a bit more sophisticated here like we did with this company. This company already had done it for us when we started working with them, in that when they would get a sale through Google Analytics, they would actually add up, essentially, if a customer made more than one purchase, that would be tracked through Google Analytics. We were able to create audiences based upon that, where if somebody's purchased in terms of their total purchases over a certain minimum amount, we would be able to target them separately. So you can see where I'm going with this. If an average customer to us lifetime, in terms of lifetime purchases on average of $180, but there's 25% of the customers who spend an average of at least $400, our lost customer reactivation campaign here can go after just the people who normally who have spent over $400. In that, for those people specifically, if we get them back, they're going to be worth a hell of a lot more, and we can offer them more to get them back than we could the guy or gal who only spends $180. Through Google Analytics, you can actually track all this if you want to very easily, so that your best customers, instead of just any customer who did not come back, your best ones, your top 10%, your stars, you can have your banner ad show up for them. And your top 10%, you might simply be able to give them a free t-shirt, and then the next thing might be a free hat. Actually, in terms of free, you may just simply find it works better to offer 50% off, because it gets a person back into the buying mode instead of just getting free crap. I promise you, even if they get something for free, if they have to use a discount code and go through the site, it is going to work basically the same way, because they're on the site, they're going to be looking at other stuff when they're there, and it just builds the habit. You already know they spend money, so it's not like you're getting somebody who just wants free shit. No, they've spent a lot of money with you in the past. And when you track each individual consumer's purchases, not just on their initial purchase, but all future purchases, you can start creating audiences for people who spent in the top 10% or top 20% lifetime through your site, like we did here with the diet product company. And so that's what we did. So ultimately, instead of just targeting people who have not been to the site in the last 180 days, but have bought in the past, and then hitting them with a banner ad that says, we'll give you 50% off your next order to get them back, we did that, yes, but we all added an additional filter in that they must have spent over $400 with us in the past. And if so, now their customer reactivation ad can show up for them, okay? So it might be worth it for you to hire an analytics expert that can let you not just see the customer purchases, but the lifetime value of purchases from each individual user / customer. And then with that, use that to drive your customer reactivation campaigns. So you just only go after the people that are worth the most money to you, or over a certain minimum threshold where you can start throwing out 50% discounts or throwing out free items to get them back to the site and purchasing again. Well, with that was very effective, and ultimately, with that, going back to the title of the video here, 10 to 30% of the time you can get them back. For the people that we were specifically going after, the math worked out, we were getting over 10% of the people that would see these ads back into the fold again with these offers. Why? Because they were great offers. We were offering a combination of free items, also with discounts. To get the habit built, the 1, 2, 3 punch that you need to get them back to the site at least 3 times in purchasing, in order to make sure the habit's fully built and that they're just going to start purchasing the way that they were before, if you will. And so it doesn't matter if they went to the competitor and bought from them. They bought from us 3 times now, so the chances are 80+% that we're going to get them. So you're not going to have 80% of the people that are going to see your ad and act on them, but you certainly might get 10% of them to act on it. And of those, if you can get them, basically all the way through the 3 different individual ads that show up for them, the offers, you'll keep them 80% of the time after that, long term, so to say. So, and yes, we had to offer a couple free items in order to get between 10 and 30% of the people that we show them the ads to get back, and start doing business with us again, enough to go long term with us again. But it was worth it because we went after customers that were worth at least that had spent over $400 lifetime value with us in the past, so they were worth giving those gimmies to. So tracking individual customers through your site, particularly in Google Analytics, and understanding what one customer's worth versus another, so that you can throw different things at them to get them back, you can actually make a lot more from a customer long term because you've got mechanisms in place to retain them longer. It's very similar to how Las Vegas works if you really think about it. What do they do right away in Las Vegas? They're smart. They have players' cards, or they have other ways to track what individual players are playing, so that as soon as they get over a certain threshold of spend, they can right away do things to retain that customer. So they're going to so they actively spend more the more that the customer reveals that they're worth to the casino. And that's how you should operate fundamentally your business. Given that the banner ads that show up for somebody that's a good customer like that literally cost a penny to have a banner ad like that show up for somebody. And you can spend $5 to go after them 500 different times with different banner ads that have those offers on it, as I mentioned before. So, so with that said, and then with your 3 different offers that you're going to have in sequence, the first ad, you have that, and they use it, if you can, right after they purchase or during the purchase. You can have if you're using like Shopify, you can have an upsell that says, come back again and we'll give you XYZ. Or you can just have another banner ad that's only allowed to show up if they've already clicked through the first ad in your sequence. You can easily do that with Google Analytics and remarketing audiences, so that unless they've actually taken advantage and checked out after using the first offer, which is more so what you would want. But so they would see the ad. If they used it, then automatically as soon as they leave the site, let's say 3 days after, because you can also program in a delay with remarketing. Google Analytics remarketing, you can do remarketing a million different ways. you can have it so where if somebody clicks on an ad and then purchases that certain offer, that 3 days after that, another ad shows up for them until they take advantage of that. And then after they take advantage of that, 3 days later after that, the third offer comes up for them. And so with that, and then shows up 3 days after and then shuts after 30 days, which is about how long I would go after them with my offer. I would have it show up, 100 times for them, but I would trickle it out so it was 2 to 3 times per day over that month. And with that, 2 to 3 times per day, you're literally investing $1 over the course of a month to have them see that offer. So, like I said, you can spend most of your money just in the offer itself. The marketing of the offer is very, very cheap in terms of advertising cost. So, and if your offer is good enough, they'll take it. If it's over a certain level of goodness, they'll take it. So, what I'm telling you here is, you may not be able to offer free stuff or 50% off to get a customer back on any old customer, but if you analyze your customers on an individual customer by customer basis, there'll be some customers that are valuable enough that you can. And so the question really here is this going to work, but for what level of customer will this work to where I can offer something good enough that I can essentially put something in an ad that will actually get people to want to come back to the site. Because 10% isn't going to excite a lot of people to come back. 50% will. A free item will. So, you should break it down like the casinos do with the math and just figure out what customers are worth, and when they're worth a certain amount, you offer them more to get them back and retain them. And ultimately, this same ideology here that I'm talking about here works well to poach people from other competitors as well. So you can target people who go to your competitor's site with Google Display Network and offer them with your funnel that you've set up. You can do similar things. Of course, the customers are going to be worth less probably as a whole than going after your top 10% of customers, but the same kind of mechanism like I talked about in the coffee shop example that I talked about before with the different the coffee shop with a bunch of branches where we went after Starbucks customers. We knew the Starbucks customers would be worth XYZ amount. We could invest so much to get them in the door. Free coffee, and then another free coffee, and then another free coffee. And then we can now have got a customer that's going to come back probably for the next 5 years to our store. And then we knew the value of that was basically known. So there's other things you can use the mechanism, the 1, 2, 3 offer in succession. You can actually use it to get new customers, but definitely can be used to reactivate customers, given that it takes so little effort to get a customer who's already liked you in the past and just forgot about you to get them back in the door. You just got to offer them a little something, they're back. You do it a couple more times, they're going to stay 80% of the time, like I mentioned before. So, and get 10 to 30% of the people who you've lost back into the fold, which does wonders for your lifetime value averages of what you're getting out of a customer, when 20% of the customers that you were losing before, you're not losing anymore, you're keeping them. So if you're making an average of $200 per customer in terms of lifetime value before, and you get this method, now they're worth an additional $40 each, worth $240. Now you can spend another potentially $10 in terms of marketing cost to get a customer on the front end, which that extra $10 might actually translate into an additional 20% more customers you can afford to get on the front end. And then, of course, 20% of more customers on the front end means you can raise your company's sales / revenue by 20% year over year, just because you can afford to spend a little bit more to get a customer in the first place on Google, on whatever. So this same method, by the way, can be used, of course, to a smaller degree, like on Facebook and social media networks. It's just a little harder because Facebook's tools to do this kind of remarketing you have to come up with your own custom solution. Whereas Google and Google Analytics specifically, because you can do remarketing audiences inside Google Analytics and do tracking of customers inside Google Analytics, like I mentioned we did for the diet company, it's all built in within the system. Yes, it takes some custom configuration to do lifetime value of customer tracking inside Google Analytics, but for the most part, all the tools are relatively easy to use to set up a mechanism like I was talking about, track customers and understand which ones should be put into a specific banner ad sequence that offers them stuff to get back if they haven't purchased in a certain minimum amount of time, whether that be 180 days, 365 days, whatever. So with that said, I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and found it useful. I hope that you go out there and use the techniques to make money. If you want to make some more money, you could certainly just watch my other videos, and as I have a ton of other content on this channel about how to make money with ads. Coming from somebody who just does ad strategy for clients all day long, therefore the information you actually hear on this particular channel and on YouTube, therefore, is actually to be counted on, given that full-time YouTubers don't actually do ad strategy. They just talk about it. Furthermore, people that sell courses, it's the same thing. This is the best information, I promise you, on practical advice on how to make money with online ads on Facebook, Google, and so forth, that you will literally find. So with that said, you should subscribe, and you should also consider subscribing/reading my blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog, which I have also really good content on how to make money with ads, as well as and subscribe to my column at entrepreneur.com, which I also write and cover things that are topics that you need to know in order to make a lot of money with ads in today's environment, all the current stuff. So with that said, beyond this though, if you are not looking to do stuff yourself, you want somebody to help you out, this is exactly what I do at my firm. We offer not only help with your ads to make money and do the stuff I'm talking about on this channel, but we also guarantee the results we provide, in that if you don't get more sales results up front on your campaigns, we don't get paid at all. And we're the only agency out there that I still know of that does anything like this. We're crazy, but we also know the stuff works, and we're teaching you here. And if you want to see if we can work together in that kind of capacity, you should definitely reach out to my firm at guaranteeppc.com so we can have a discussion about it. I can give you a free analysis. We also sell campaign templates, or have started that, in that if we've worked in your market before, instead of working with us directly, you can use the ad templates, the landing page templates, and so forth that work for your market, that we've already used and developed for your market, and then just simply buy them and then copy and paste them and use in your own account and get copy-paste results essentially for your business. If you're interested in that as well, you can reach out. We can let you know if we've worked in your market and then what we would charge for that. Basically what we charge is literally nothing compared to the amount of money we had to spend to figure out what works in your market, and would be way cheaper than what you're going to have to spend to figure out the same thing for yourself. So you should definitely reach out and see if we have something. We've got people using these templates to start side businesses, selling leads on the side or whatever, because it's easy to start a business when you have a winning campaign template and landing page template to do it with right off the gate. So just speaking of the effectiveness of these templates, what you're actually dealing with. Beyond that, a couple more things I'll mention quickly before I wrap this video up. If you are looking for an ad manager, by the way, think you want to work with us or a company like ours, but don't have money for the ad agency fees or don't want to pay them, if you are willing to let us share the results we would get on your campaign on this channel, we're willing to work on your campaign totally for free. No catch. You just got to be willing to share everything that we figure out on your campaigns publicly on this channel, and that's it. We're looking for candidates to do this, given, of course, our clients don't let us do this, and this is exactly the type of content that people want to see but can't see. So if you're interested in applying for that, you should reach out to our agency, guaranteeppc.com, as well, and we'll consider doing it with you if you're over a certain minimum amount of revenue, which we want to make sure we're working with viable businesses to do this that'll be around for a while. But if you are, we'd like to potentially work with you in that regard. Furthermore, if you are wanting to hire an ad agency with like a monthly fee retainer, we also partner with companies in that we'll take 1 to 10% of a company's growth in sales, and we'll do all the ad work for you. We get 1 to 10% of the equity of the company, but you pay nothing unless your sales go up. And we've done this for several companies so far already. They're all the companies that we've done it with are doing extremely well. We'd love to be able to work with you on that kind of level as well, and of course, kind of pick and choose what opportunities we work on, because we want to make sure we're really working with winners here. But at least you'll hear the honest truth about what we think the potential really is with your stuff if you reach out to us about that, and can see if we can work together in that regard and actually partner up. Anyway, if you're interested in that as well, you can definitely reach out to my firm as well, guaranteeppc.com. We can discuss the opportunity at hand. But I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. You saw a lot of value out of it. and I'll see you in the next one. If you have any questions, make sure to also leave a comment below. I get back to every single person that leaves me a comment on this channel, asking questions about the videos or any other ad-related question you'd like. Totally free of charge as a way of giving back. I'll see you on the next one, though. See you later.